So we're here today at Maver Hayfield Lakes in Doncaster, and this is the scene, actually this particular peg on Island Lake, the scene of where I recently won £70,000 in the Maver Match This final. And what I want to do today is just talk you through the tactics that I used during that match, you know, and why I actually used those tactics. I'll show you the rigs that I used and actually my theories towards fishing a big match. I've got a fish on now. I'm fishing the same methods that I caught a lot of fish on that day, and that's a bomb and pellet. A lot of people think that's a really simple method, but as with all methods in fishing, a lot of it has to do with just the small things that make a difference. There you go, nice little carp, nice little common carp, probably about 3.5, 4 pound, beautiful little fish. So we'll whack him in the net, and then I'll talk to you about the setup that I used. So, as I mentioned, I caught a lot of fish on the day fishing a bomb and pellet. To be fair, a really simple method, but where the actual crux of the method and where the difference between you catching a load of fish or the bloke next to you catching a load of fish comes in is the feeding. So let's talk to you about the rig, which needs to stay nice and simple. First up, I've got a nice soft action rod, reel loaded with 022 mainline, nice robust mainline. It just needs to be something that sinks and doesn't let you down. The bomb setup, I've got a free running inline bomb set on the line. I just like the fact that when a fish picks up the bait, it feels the weight quicker in an inline bomb rather than one that's on either on a snap swivel. That means that it picks up the bait, feels your lead much quicker, bolts away, and you hook more fish, in my opinion. I've got a hook length of a foot, and that's 0.18, and the hook is a size 12 QM1, and I've got on a hair a little quick stop. I've had some hooks tied up with bait bands as well for slipping different baits in a band, but for the majority of the day I used a quick stop on the hair. Bait for the day was a drilled pellet or a banded pellet. I drilled some pellets at home. It's just a standard carp pellet. I like the way that a drilled pellet sits actually against the hook. I think the fact that it's all in line means that you get more bites, actually hook more fish, because the actual length of the pellet doesn't get in the way of when you hook the fish. So I've drilled some pellets, put them in a little tub, and just pushing a quick stop through, you know, I think it creates a nice little setup. So there's the setup. It's a really simple rig, and as I say, I caught a lot of fish on this on the day, and it's not about chucking it in, feeding some pellets over the top and leaving it. There's an actual thought process that goes through it. So we're faced with quite deep water here at Hayfield. What I don't want to do is fire pellets in constantly all day. And actually I did make a mistake in the second half of the match by doing this, and fortunately it didn't cost me, because what happens is when you keep firing bait in constantly all day, those fish naturally want to rise up in the water, intercept that bait, and we're fishing a bomb at the end of the day. We're fishing on the bottom, we want to pin those fish to the bottom. So when I came up practicing, I found that the best way of feeding was to feed 3 times all in one go with sort of 8 to 10 pellets. So there you go, 10 pellet goes in, 10 pellets goes in, 10 pellets goes in, all in a nice tight area, 25 to 30 metres out, somewhere nice and comfortable where I can feed in a tight area. And what happens is this 30 odd pellets gone in there in one go. That means that those fish can't physically clean all those pellets up before they reach the bottom. I know for a fact that these pellets actually reaching the bottom where I'm presenting my rig and right around my rig, and that's what I want. Like I say, if I kept feeding 1 or 2 pellets constantly over the top, all that's going to happen is those fish are going to rise up, and in 14, 15 foot of water that I'm faced with today, I've not got a chance of catching them. That sort of tactic works maybe on lakes that are 3 foot, 4 foot deep, but on a venue such as this where it's so deep, it's not going to work. So there's the method that I would say won me the match. But what I want to do is talk to you about actually my mindset towards the match. So big money events, in my opinion, are all about firstly drawing a peg, and secondly remaining calm and making the right decisions. All of my match fishing is based on making the correct decisions during a match. So I like to treat each match just as a normal match. Try not to think about the money, try not to think about the occasion, just go and relax into the event. On the day, as with all my matches, and whenever I take someone coaching, I always tell them this, I started on a short pole, just straight in front of me, at 5 or 6 metres out. I fed a few 6mm pellets, and after all, this was the method that won the match previously for John Wincup in last year. So why wouldn't I start on this method? Plus, what it actually allows me to do is maybe catch a couple of early mugfish that are sitting close in, that haven't realised that there's a competition and haven't been scared by all the disturbance. And also, because I'm holding such a short length of pole and fishing in such close proximity to myself, it means that I can have a look around and feel my way into the day. I can look at the anglers around me and see how they're fishing. Lots of anglers actually on the final started fishing shallow, and it wasn't exactly blistering. So after half an hour, that told me that maybe fishing further out but on the bottom with a bomb was going to be the tactic to use, and that's when I started feeding that line. So I caught 2 fish on this line early on, so it was really beneficial considering that I only won the final by sort of 3 kilos. Those 2 early fish were big bonuses. The rig that I used for that short pole line, it's quite deep here, so I've used 17 hollow elastic, got 7 foot of water that's 6 metres, and I've used a 0.4 Mick Wilkinson diamond, really stable float. It might seem quite a light float, but it's really stable because it's got a really heavy fiberglass stem. A strung bulk of number 9s. I've got 018 main line, and I've got an 016 hook length, and I've got a size 18 little matrix hair rigger hook there with a band on, and I just slipped 6mm pellets in the band. You can see that my whole approach revolved around hard pellet fishing. I think hard pellets catch so many fish in commercial fisheries now that there's no point confusing yourself, especially on a big money match. Hard pellets, I've used 8mm hard pellets for the bomb, 6mm for the pole. It's easy, no point confusing yourself. And like I say, after half an hour of fishing that short pole, 2 fish in the net, both caught on the bottom. I hadn't had loads of line bites indicating to me that there was fish up in the water. All those telltale signs were there to have a go on the bomb and chuck a bomb out. So then, chuck the bomb out, had a brilliant run for an hour and a half, but you can tell that all the time the fish were drifting away because there was a lot of crowd presence on the bank, loads of people walking around the lakes, megaphone was going, those fish were on edge, and they're gradually drifting away from you. Now I've got a beautiful island chuck at sort of 60 metres today, and obviously on the day, but I didn't want to go on that too early. A lot of people probably would have chucked there straight away. In my opinion, that was the wrong thing to do. All you'd have done is maybe caught 1 or 2 fish early, but spooked those fish totally. And by bringing those fish through your peg, reeling those fish through your peg, you've spooked other fish in your swim as well. And those fish would have gone sideways to the anglers next door. So I wanted to keep that water nice and quiet and actually use that as a resting area. So probably an hour and a half from the end of the match, 90 minutes to go, that's when I actually picked up my method feeder rod, chucked up against the island, and had 2 fish in 2 chucks, which, looking back, again, brilliant bonuses when weights are so tight. That was the end of those fish. Everything was spooked, and to be fair, when we practiced, there hadn't been loads of fish feeding really tight to the island anyway, so it was never going to be my main area of attack. But what it did is just rested my bomb line. It meant that I can take my line, take my bomb out of the swim, rest that area, keep feeding it, and fortunately, as you might know, I caught a couple of really late fish which just sealed the win. So there you go, that's how I will Maver match this. And I think it's important to talk about the mindset and just how you've got to believe in yourself in a big money event and actually just remain relaxed, stay calm, and just make the right decisions, because when you're calm you'll make the correct decisions, and hopefully if you get a good peg like I did on the day, you can make the most of it. So if you fancy going a few qualifiers, good luck. There's loads of big money events around now, and I'm sure with a bit of luck you could have, walking away with that paycheck as well.